Alright guys, welcome to lecture 6 in our Bioinformatics series with our Dr. Vandenbrink, Dr. VDB, for those that know me. So today we're going to be talking about models and formulas in R. These are ways that you can kind of make advanced computations or do some data analysis with like regression analysis, linear models, things like that, to kind of make sense of the data that you are generating, or if you're taking public data or checking data or whatever you need to do some sort of analysis, this will help you do it. So let's dive on in. And the first thing we're going to do here is we are going to annotate our code. Let's get in the habit of doing that. So we'll start and make this section called models and formulas. Alright, so an example of a formula would be something like this, where we say that y is the product of x2 and or x1 and x2. So what we're going to do, let's take, R's got some built-in data sets, and these data sets are for you to play with and kind of try out different examples of packages, models, and things like that, right? So Isaac, we're doing Iris, right? All right, let's pull up the Iris data set. So we're going to do data set, and we're just going to call Iris. And so as you can see here, this is a famous data set that gives measurements in centimeters of the variables sepal length and width, petal length and width, respectively, for 50 flowers of 3 subspecies. So we're going to run that. And so as you can see, we now have data set. If we click on it at the top right, this takes us to our kind of Excel spreadsheet type view. We have 3 different species. We have measurements for sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. So let's go back to our, I'm going to close these out, go back to our spreadsheet here. So if we have a big data set, like for example, my previous example was if we did gene expression, we'd have 23,000 plus genes. Depending on the species, you could have even more. If you were to print that data set, your computer would spend long times just printing and printing and printing lists of it, right? So sometimes you just want to see like a little bit of your data set just to make sure it's in there right, and your columns are right, etc. So what we do is we call head of the data set. So that just gives us the top, right? And so it gives us the first 6 rows and the column headers. So we see that our first 6 measurements here for sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, and then our species. So similarly, if you wanted to look at the end, say you were wondering if your entire data set is there, you want to see if the end has values. So intuitively, we can call tail of our data set. And so if we run that, you see that we have the last up to 150, right? So the last 6. And still for sepal width, length, petal length, width, and then the species. So I'm going to print data set. You would, if you do this with something too big, it's going to be a mess. But as you can see, it's just long. It prints the entire thing if you just call data set. So if you have 23,000 or whatever, it's going to take a long time and a lot of memory for your computer to print it all. So, all right, the other thing we can do is say we want to know the number of rows in our data set. Like if we were doing gene expression, we want to make sure that if we knew that our genome had 23,000 genes, if they're all accounted for, if there's rows for all of them. We can do n row, which means number of row for our data set. Similarly, bad habit, didn't annotate. All right, let's look at the top few rows. And then let's look at the bottom few rows. All right, and then we'll annotate this quick. Let's look at the total number of rows in the index. All right, so we ran that. We can similarly, let's look at the number of columns in our data set. And so what we do is ncol data set. If we run that, it says we have 5 columns, which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does not count the line number. That's all this is, right? So this is like row number 89. That doesn't count as a column. It's just the actual ones that have data in them. Okay, so let's do a linear model. So let's start with a simple linear model. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a linear model where we take petals. So we're going to call it petals LM. And we're going to do a linear model where our formula, first thing I'm going to do before we get too much into this, let's do question mark LM, right? So this is LM is used to fit linear models. It can be used to carry out regressions, single stratum analysis, variance, and analysis of covariance, which their AOV might be a better function for that. So what it says is we need to use LM, call a formula. Oops, this is kind of behind my, move over a little bit here. So we have formula, the data, subsets, weights, NA action, which means if you have missing variables, what you should do with it. You can put in the method, etc. So there's a lot of different things, and you can read all the arguments down below here and what they mean. But we're just going to use it in a very basic sense. So our formula, what we start with, is going to be petal length, which is that one column. And we're going to do a regression against petal width. And so this is this little, I think it's called a tilde. It's to the left of your 1 on the keyboard, if you're looking for it, usually at least on most keyboards. And then it asks for what data set are you going to use. So we're going to say our data equals data set. And remember, data set is just what we call the iris data. And so if we run this, we now have up here, we should have, what did we call it? Petals.lm and petals.lm. So it's a list of 12. And so if you click on this, you can see there's like, it's nested things. So don't worry about that right now. So let's print petals.lm. And you can see we have the call is telling you what we called. So it's a linear model where our formula equals petal length by petal width with our data equal data set. And so this gives us our essentially our best fit line with our y-intercept and the correlation coefficient, right? So if we run summary function of our regression, we get a little bit more data. I'm going to bring this up so you can kind of see here. So we get our residuals for fitting the model. We get our coefficients, our standard error, the t-value, all these statistical measures of how associated they are. We get our multiple r squared. So this is saying that in our adjusted r squared. So the r squared value, I'm not getting too much into the statistics of this because that's for a statistics course, because we could spend an entire course doing statistics, and I might do a statistics course in the future. But anyways, an r squared value is showing the correlation. So the higher the correlation is, or the closer it is to 1, the stronger the correlation is. The closer it is to 0 means it's random and there really is no correlation. Degrees of freedom is 2 minus the number of measurements, so there's 148 because we had 150 lines. And then the p-value. So this is telling us how significant the correlation is, right? So because you want a p-value that's smaller than 0.05 to show significance. So what this is saying is that this is 2.2 times 10 to the negative 16, so it's very, very smaller than 0.05. So it's saying that there's a significant association in our model between petal length and petal width. And so this is just a basic example of a model. You can do many more models, whether you do GLMs, linear models, mixed models, things like that. I want to introduce you to them. We're not going to be using them really in this course, but R is great at doing statistics, and this is just a quick example. In the next chapter, or the next lecture, we'll graph it to kind of visually look at it. But like I said, I just wanted to really introduce you to the concept of building models in R and let you know that this has greater utility outside of just bioinformatics, right? So if you are somebody that is looking at, besides being in bioinformatics, like public health and looking at large amounts of data for statistical reasons, associations between drug interactions and that type of medical analysis. Psychology uses a lot of statistics. R is a great open source utility for doing these statistics. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. That's it for linear models, and I'll see you in the next one.